Lisa. I was tagged by Kelly Oblick for the Scrappy Tag video. These questions came from Heather from Heather's Crafty Life. The idea here is for us to get to know one another better and as scrapbookers. So I will have my tags at the end, the ladies that I picked that I would like to do the video if they haven't already. I'm going to answer the questions, but I may not do them quite in order. I do want to answer the very first question. It was the easiest question to answer. And the question was, what is the one scrapbook item you do not own that surprises you? I do not own a Big Shot or any type of die cutting machine. Now, I have had a Cricut, and I currently have a Silhouette Cameo, and I have on at least 3 occasions almost bought the Big Shot, to the point of having it in my shopping cart online, to picking out dies, especially the ones where the stamps are coordinated and all, thinking up projects. I went to my best friend's house once and she has it, and I was spending the weekend and I practiced with it because I wanted to make sure that turning that would not bother my arms and hands. Sometimes I have some issues with my right arm, and I went to bed that night thinking for sure I was going to order one, and the next morning I surprised both of us by telling her that I decided not to buy one. The issue I had with the die cutters, I think they do beautiful work, but I like the ability to change the size and proportions that I have on my Silhouette. Also, it's space, and a lot of my decisions about what I craft with and what I'm going to use, what I'm going to buy, it has to do with how much room I have and how I'm going to store things. So I just felt like I would end up with so many dies, so much money in it, and so much stuff to keep that I decided not to get the Big Shot. When it comes to space, I work in an upstairs guest bedroom. It's our only guest bedroom. It's the only thing on the 2nd floor, and it's a generous sized room. It has a pitched cathedral ceiling, which makes for wonderful natural light. It also makes for a very warm room in the summertime. But nonetheless, it's my crafting space. Now, the only thing, though, about this room that says guest bedroom is the fact that it still has a bed in it. And if I had somewhere else to have a guest bedroom, it wouldn't have a bed in it. But I don't have any choice. And I try to keep crafting stuff off the bed. It was certainly not long term. I may lay something there while I'm working, but really try to keep things off the bed. I don't have anything under the bed. But every other surface, every other storage in this entire room is crafting space. I've stayed out of the bathtub, but the adjacent bathroom, the cabinet that was supposed to be a medicine cabinet is full of paint. The linen closet, the regular closet, the chest of drawers, the triple dresser, all full of crafting stuff. And I did a video on my room, and I'll try to link it up here. YouTube has changed some of the linking mechanism that we have for things, so hopefully I'll be able to link it up to this video. But nonetheless, I have done a room tour, and while I've moved a few things around, it's not that dramatically different. And it's still, if I clean it up, looks pretty much like a guest room, as long as you don't open drawers for things. Now, the area behind me is my work table, and I don't try to camouflage that if I have guests. We don't have guests very often, so I don't have to worry about it. Because I have to work with this limited amount of space. Everybody has a limit, and how much space you have. But if I expand beyond this, I've got to go to another floor. I have to figure out, what I want to keep, what I want to buy. One of the questions had to do with if you had an unlimited amount of money, what would you spend money on? I thought about, would I have a whole new craft room? Again, I'd love to have some other place for the guest room, but my first thought was lighting. What I have with the ceilings here, and I'll tilt the camera up for just a minute and then try to get it back in this place. You can see how the ceilings go over here, and there's a little closet there that's full of crafting stuff. But I don't have a lot of wall space because of the way the ceilings do. So that means that I have a limit there as well. And it also means that I have this attic, these sloped ceilings that, since we didn't put wiring in them when we built the house, would be really difficult for me to add wiring and do lighting. And I would love to have some track lighting. I have a great overhead light fixture, but I don't feel like I need that to light the whole room in the winter when I want to come up here and just do a little project at night. It's this time of the year, got great light as much as I want for pretty late in the evening, because I don't work, I'm a morning person, and I don't work past 8 or 9 o'clock on much of anything, and so that's not a big deal. But in the winter time, I would really love to have better lighting, so that's where I would spend my money. Now, other questions that we had: if you are designing your own line, what 3 elements would be required? I love striped paper. When I had a window treatment business for 16 years, and recently I just moved, another reason I don't have as much space up here, I recently moved one of my sewing machines, my home sewing machine, upstairs, and we built a table, a pressing table, and I'll show you that too, because that's not part of the home tour video. This means I'm going to have even less space up here for scrapping stuff. So a lot of stuff is going to have to start moving out of this room. You know, with these kind of hobbies, you can't just store stuff anywhere. I mean, my husband can stick his stuff in the attic space above the garage or in an outside building. With humidity and all, you can't put papers and things just anywhere. You can't put mixed media supplies, so that's one of the limitations. But anyway, when I had the window treatment business, and back in the 90s when we had all these chintz fabrics, florals and paisleys and stuff, very often there would be companion fabrics, and I loved it when a customer picked out a fabric that had a stripe to go with it, because you could do so much with a stripe. Same thing with paper. I love to get a stripe to go with in a collection because I can do a whole lot of things with it. And I think, well, this is a plaid. Plaids would fall under that as well. This was a layout that I did a few months ago. I've used a stripe and a plaid on this page, and so you can cut that with the diagonal, and it's really cool look there for the page. So I just love stripes. I would also do like a true sky blue paper. Blue in the scrapbooking industry is aqua. Aqua is my favorite color. I love aqua. However, when I'm doing nature photos and I want to scrap those, I want something that goes with the sky, and those true blues are very hard to find in scrapbooking. And even the cloud papers almost never really look like the sky. Sometimes they do, but not very often. So that's something that I would have. And I'd probably have wood veneers because they're my favorite scrapbooking supply. I think that was one of the questions on here as well. What do you have the most of in your stash? Paper, obviously. Lots and lots of paper. I also have a lot of stamps. Last summer I did a series of videos where I used some of my stamps for the last time. I called it Use It and Move It, and then I put them out for sale. I'm in the process of going through stamps and making cards and things now because I'm deciding which stamp sets I want to move out. With moving, I needed to do this anyway, and with moving some of the sewing stuff up here, I'm not giving away my whole workroom space that I used to have, even though I haven't been sewing in there for a few years now. I'm not giving that up downstairs, mainly because I don't want my husband to move his stuff into it. But anyway, and I still have a lot of machines down there. But I need space up here because as I migrate more sewing stuff up here, I'm going to need places to put it. And I don't want stuff just laying everywhere. I want to use those drawers and cabinets and things that I have, and that means stuff has to go, and so some stamp sets are going to have to go. So I do have a lot of stamps, and I have a lot of inks, and I've been trying to use those. My Stampin' Up! Inks are over here to the side, and it's like lately they've been talking to me. They've been calling and saying, we're getting older, we're drying up, use us. And so I've been trying to get some of these out and starting to use my ink. Some of these are pretty old, and they are drying up, and I don't have ink refills for everything. I have the new Distress Oxide inks that I'm using more and more, and so I want to condense the quantity of stuff that I have a little bit. I just don't find that I need as much. There was a question on here about your favorite places to shop. In the last couple of years, I've done a few warehouse boxes, and I've really enjoyed the warehouse boxes and all the stuff that you get out of those. I've resold some things that I knew I wasn't going to use, but I've gotten some great things that way. A friend gave me a whole bunch of product, and so I just haven't been buying very much because I already had a lot of stuff, and again, how much space and all, and I just feel like it makes me more creative to figure out how to use the things that I have, to go back and use some of those old stamps, to pull out my stencils, which take up very little space, so they're easy to collect, and my mixed media supplies, some of those are drying up. I need to be using those. So I've gotten into this thing lately where I want to use stuff because I don't want it to dry up, or it bothers me if it's sitting around here not being used. That's been governing a lot of my decisions on what I work with lately. And there was a question in here about what Do you have to have a page complete? That was the most difficult question, because I looked at some of the pages. I put them on a little shelf, which is right now over that pressing table. I'm not sure that's going to work out well to have scrapbook layouts over top of a table where I use a steam iron. That's probably not going to be a good combination. But anyway, I usually put my layouts on display before I put them away. I do put them away. I don't get having a pile of layouts and not filing them. You know, I put them in the albums. I mean, I got albums, I put them in there. I don't see why I would want to not file them. So before I put them away, though, I've got them stacked up there, and I was looking when I was answering these questions, and I thought, okay, what do all these pages have in common? Well, not a whole lot, because some pages had thickers, some pages had stickers, some pages I had used stenciling. I pulled out a couple of things. This page used a lot of product. And I loved this page. I used my Creative Memory circle cutters, but of course I don't do that on every page for sure. This page, on the other hand, well, this used a lot of pattern paper, the chipboard and stuff for the collection. This used nothing other than a few October afternoon stickers in terms of real product, and some washi tape. The background was from some old knitting and crocheting kind of books, and I made my own embellishments to talk about the knitting. I did use some little thickers here, but there's just not a lot in common between the pages in terms of product. I like to use a variety of product. My first thought was thickers, but that just didn't hold true. The one thing, though, that almost all my pages have in common is color. I am not a neutral person. I don't do a lot of pages that are all black and white and gray, or all cream brown colors. I've done some, and when I do those and I do a video on them, I get more response to those pages than anything. So apparently folks like them, and they've turned out really nicely, but it's just not me. I'm just a color person. I like color in my wardrobe, I like color in my house, and on my pages. So almost all my pages have color on them. Now let's see what other questions we have. Most used social media influence besides YouTube. For me these days it would be Instagram. I love the clean Instagram screen that you have, whether you do it on your phone or you do it on your computer. If you do it on your computer, you don't even get ads, and you just scroll down through. You have the most recent stuff at the top. When you get to a picture you've seen before, you're done. So I really like Instagram. You will see as this video goes along where you can find me on many of the different social media platforms. I'm on Facebook because other people use Facebook. That's the only reason. If it weren't for doing classes and my sketchbooks and things, I probably would not be on Facebook. I don't really care for it at all, but I'm there, and you can find me on Google Plus and other places. So, but do check out Instagram if you use Instagram, because I try to post my projects there. I don't always remember to, but I do a lot of other photos, flowers. I like pretty things, and again, a lot of color. I do some food things. It's just a little bit different thing, and it just takes a second to zip through people's Instagram. Dream collaborator and Scrappy Crush are the same person, and that would be Paige Taylor Evans. Her style and mine are completely different, but I think that would be a fun collaboration. And I think currently she's living in Europe, so obviously I'd have to go, over there to collaborate with her. And speaking of travel, one of the questions was, what would be your dream job in the scrapbooking industry? I have family obligations right now that mean that I cannot travel anywhere. Getting away for even an hour drive from here is challenge right now. So I could not do this, but if I had the opportunity to be a demonstrator at conferences and scrapbooking conventions and things, I think that would be a lot of fun. I was a corporate trainer for many years. When I was in the window treatment industry, I taught at some conferences. I loved doing that kind of thing, and so I would really enjoy that kind of job. Now let's see what I haven't answered yet. The only question I have left, I think, is what project are you procrastinating on? I mentioned having my window treatment business. When I was in business, I took photographs of the projects that I created for my customers, and I kept these notebooks with magazine photos and home show photos and photos of jobs that I had done, and I still have those. And what I really like to do is to take the photos of the jobs that I've done and put those in an album. And I may not put everything in there, but there's a lot of stories. There's a lot of things we had to create for clients. I mean, people come up with ideas of what they want on their windows, but they don't really have an idea how to hold it up, and we had to figure out a lot of things. And I say we because my husband helped me with installations and some of the construction stuff, but I did, you know, the treatments. People think when you have that kind of business you sit and sew. You do not sit, I mean, you sew, but that's not the big thing. The big thing is figuring out how to make things. One of the last jobs I did, a client had bought maybe 2.5 yards of this beautiful embroidered fabric when she was traveling in Europe. And she wanted to put it in her bedroom, and we had, I think, 3 windows, or maybe 4. I had to do, out of this little bit of fabric, I spent 5 hours planning the cut before I ever cut anything. Imagine spending 5 hours on a scrapbook page before you ever cut a piece of paper. I mean, it was a lot because I couldn't make a mistake. There was no room for error. I only had that one piece of fabric, and it came out nicely. And you know, but there were a lot of projects I was very, very proud of, and I got to know people, and so it was just a really great experience that I did for, I'd say, 16 years. It overlapped some of my other jobs, so sometimes part-time, sometimes full-time, and that's an album that I would like to create. And I have many of the photographs pulled out and saved or over here in a drawer. I just haven't done anything with them. So, and I've got other things that I haven't done, but that was the first one that came to mind. So thank you so much for watching my answers to the Scrappy Tag questions. And the 3 ladies that I am tagging are Kelly Barron, Laura Whitaker, and Colleen O'Keefe. So I will make sure they know via some version of social media that they were picked, and so if they'd like to participate, they can. It's been fun to do this. I hope I haven't talked your ear off. I can tend to do that. And anyway, thank you again for watching. If you have any questions for me that you want me to answer anytime, I love to get questions on my YouTube video, and I do answer them, in the replies, or I certainly try to. I've never done a Q&A kind of thing from people's questions, but I'd be open to doing that. I think that would be fun. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.